1. And we are recording. What's up, people? What's up, Farrel? Welcome back to When the Bell Rings. You feel me?
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Yeah,
Back
and
from the
belated
dead.
happy birthday to my mans.
Thank you,
Been
thank you.
MIA for the past couple because I believe my man's had an epiphany, bro. So what are we talking about this
I
episode?
I have. All right. So I guess today you're kind of interviewing me a little bit, right?
Yeah,
About my
man.
life and
Yeah,
how
yeah, bro.
a little bit about the past week and what I've learned. Um, Honestly, it's been a good week. It's I would say it's a good week, you know. I've learned a lot of things. I've grown a lot. I think I've matured
Yeah.
just a little bit. I'm still figuring stuff out, and right now I have this burning passion just to keep going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right, so where do I start? So, the last time we talked was when I told you I was. Did I tell you? I don't know if I told you that I was getting off of social media.
Oh, no, you
Did I
didn't.
tell you that?
No, you
I
didn't.
didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I just fell off one day and he just kind of like realized it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I only told like a couple people. I told like because my friends who were going to the party, or not to party, but to the Airbnb and such. I had to tell them because we were all going, and I wanted them to text me on iMessage, not Snapchat or Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I started off because I didn't have a sense of self-worth. I would say it's what I know now. I didn't have a sense of self-worth. I didn't know my value in life and for people. Because of that, I was so stuck on one person. I wasn't on
Uh,
my purpose, right? And I recently realized this now. I know a lot of people have been telling me, but you don't really get it until you experience it yourself, until you have that epiphany for yourself, right?
what is that thing that you have to experience? What is that?
It's like you just have to get hurt a lot and learn from your mistakes. Basically, experience, right?
Yeah.
Um, the negativity, and
Yeah.
realize it. The whole point is realizing that those are bad things, because um, there's a stage where you're in denial, right? And when you're in denial, your brain tells you, even though somebody is telling you the truth, right? Your brain tells you, hey man, there's hope, like, this is not true. Even though they're giving solid evidence and solid proof, you need a higher level of evidence and proof
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
right? Because you're
I
in
feel
denial. You're
you.
like,
I feel you.
damn, like I don't really trust you right now because um in my I don't want to believe it, you know?
Mhm.
And when I started to open up to believing into it, I started to realize, hey, this is bad for me, And from my experience, it grows from a small, like a small ember to like a giant flame. Because once you realize it, it's just like the ember is just like doused in oil, dude. Like it's just a catalyst for um, different epiphanies and different ideas that you finally intake and partake into yourself.
For real.
So after the denial phase, I started to really look back on what I've been doing, and um, it's called Oneidas. Okay, so I've been reading this book. It's called
When
The
I
Rational
did.
Male. Yeah,
The rational.
and I
Oh.
think I've talked about Oneidas before or
Yeah,
something like
you've
that.
talked it to me, you bum.
Right, but I finally fully understand and experienced Oneidas because since I was in denial, I thought I didn't have Oneidas.
Yeah.
So let me define one-itis for you. Okay, this is what the book defined it as, right? Um, Basically, one-itis is an unhealthy obsession to one person,
Ooh, I
and it's
like that.
usually
Yeah.
accompanied, yeah, and it's usually accompanied by unreciprocated effort or love, or through an unrealistic idealization of that person.
Mmm. Powerful.
And when I read that, I was like, both of them are me.
Yeah,
That's
that's
me
me
right
too.
now.
That
Like
I feel like that's also me. Cause yeah.
exactly. I I realized it in myself, but I finally fully realized it. So before I was, you have these little like roots growing inside your head, right? Because
Yeah.
that's where ideas come from, right? These little roots. And um, for me, those roots were, she's not good for me, she's toxic and all that stuff. But at the same time, the me who like wanted to be with her, who has this oneidas, who is super obsessed with this one person,
Yeah.
right? I was in denial. I was telling myself, hey, you know, there's still hope. She's doing this. She's doing this. I'm literally analyzing every single move and
That she
every single,
makes.
yes, and every single comfort that she gives me. I'm like, oh, hey, I have hope. I can get with her. I can be with her, right? And I start overanalyzing words like, or even phrases, or even like her response, or even her lack of response, right? You start looking at the little things, and then you're trying to overanalyze everything, and you're trying to, you're a male, right? You're a guy, so you're gonna be logical about this. You're gonna think, because we have as males an if-then logic.
Yes.
If this and this and this and this happened, then this and this and this and this and this and this will happen, right? And once I started to realize that type of mentality in myself, because I never really realized it until recently, I finally have to stop and ask questions to myself, what is good for me and what is not, because the reason for that unhealthy obsession was because I didn't believe in myself enough. I still thought that she was bigger and better than me. And you should never be in that position.
Yes.
That was so one-sided, and you should never be in that position. And I truly, truly believe that, because even though, right, this is the most important part that I learned, even if you guys get together, right?
Yeah.
It's not out of desire, it's out of obligation.
Define that real quick.
Right, okay, so let me explain to you. Let's say you want this girl so bad, and the love is unreciprocated, right? But then she takes a chance on you. She's like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna try to be with you, right? That's not out of desire. It's out of nagging, and like if you do have oneidas, you're gonna be persistent about your feelings. You're gonna be persistent about telling her your feelings, and she's gonna be like, oh, or she's gonna be like, I don't feel the same, and yada yada yada. So she doesn't like you. She doesn't, right? There's some feeling inside of her that's like, hey, I can get this guy whenever I freaking want. And then at that time of desperation, she's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try you out. So at that time, right, it's out of obligation, not out of desire. If she truly wanted to be with you, right, the love will be reciprocated, and she doesn't have to try. So let's say, let's give another example. Let's say I'm watching this show called Greenleaf on Netflix. I don't know if you know about it.
Nah.
You know about it? Okay, so it's a really good show. It's a great show. It's about this family of priests and pastors, and they have just family problems, right? It's
okay.
A big thing. So this one guy cheats on his wife, right? And they go to therapy. They go to family therapy. They go to couples therapy. Right? Marriage counseling. And what happens is that they try to trade, right? Let's say, hey, so the guy wants to go to Las Vegas, right? But the female knows, his wife knows that, well, you're cheating on me, so why would I let you go? You're just gonna throw like dollars on strippers and stuff like that, right? You're not being faithful. You don't respect me, right?
Yeah.
So the wife is saying, hey, I'll trade if you drop that one girl, I'll trade you for for going to Las Vegas, right? And so when I look at the situation, I think of it like she's really trying, right? She is trying to get somewhere, right? But it's the wrong type of try, because by you doing that, it's not gonna solve any problem. You get what I'm saying? Like, even if you know that this cheater drops the girl, he can cheat again.
Yeah.
And you'll always have that loss of trust, right? And the thing is that it's her having to trade something for her own respect, for her own self-respect, and for his respect for her, right? Doing that is out of obligation. It's not out of desire. He doesn't care about her. He just wants to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So it's out of obligation. It's not out of desire, right?
So,
And,
bro,
another
I got a
thing-
question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cause like, I've heard new stories about this friend of mine, and they kind of have this Romeo and Juliet type love when it's like they just met each other, but at the same time, they go full in with each other. You feel me? But their families are.
I don't feel you. Can you explain that?
Okay, I got you. So you know how Romeo and Juliet are, right? So their families are opposed to each other. They don't want them to be together, but at the same time, Romeo and Juliet, they themselves want to be together. And they're so blinded by quote unquote love that they go the extra mile and even further for each other. So that's where my friend's situation is, and it ultimately ends up being with him being caged up now by the parents. You feel me?
Can you explain that last part again about
So
the
basically,
parents
the guy's family doesn't want him to be with
with her,
the girl, yes, like Romeo and Juliet
Okay.
type thing.
and the girl's family don't want her to be with
Yes,
him.
yes. But they do
they're
themselves, and they're so infatuated with desire and love. Mind you, they just met, right? They just met like recently, like less than 2 years. And they're already going full on with each other. Like, they're meeting up on subways a lot. They're sneaking behind
They're
their
on
parents'
subways
backs.
a lot.
And no, like they're sneaking behind their parents' backs.
They're having sex or
No, no. I don't want to get into that. But basically, they're
okay, whatever. Yeah.
they're sneaking behind their parents' back, and
Okay, just to
there's
see each other and to, right.
yes.
Okay, so
What I was
when I
saying
look
to
at the
my friend, bro,
situation-
when
Okay, go ahead.
I was talking to my other friend about the situation, and I was like, bro, he has this scarcity mindset. It's 'cause scarcity mindset doesn't necessarily mean just one person. It's also meaning that you have to get it now. You can want one thing, but scarcity ultimately ends up being you have to have it now. But
I-
but if you have that abundance mindset, you can let that desire go and have this sort of what is that called? Delayed gratification, so that you can have this short-term negative first, so that you can have a long-term positive. But that's I was talking to my friend, and I was saying that this guy, my friend, has that scarcity mindset now, and look at where that ended up being for him. He was filling himself with a bunch of short-term positives that ultimately led to his downfall. And still to this day, they're still like going behind the parents' backs, and they're still talking even though they're not allowed, which is like, bro.
Okay, well, here's what I understand from the situation.
Yeah.
If they were to go into something long term, like a long term relationship, right?
Uh-huh.
The parents need to be on board with it. That is the number one thing. I believe it would be disrespectful. This is just my own thing. It would be disrespectful to go behind your parents' back.
Yeah, no, we're on the same boat.
And-
Yeah.
Right. Especially in a long-term relationship. If you're just like, fling and you know it's a fling, right? You know because that's your intention, right? If you know it's just a fling, then it's whatever. It's like you don't need to deal with it. But if it's something that you're planning to, if you're already going behind your parents' back to keep meeting with this one person, to keep dating this one person,
You have Oneidas.
well, no, that's not necessarily one-itis, because one-itis is unreciprocated love. It's one-sided.
But this
It
one
seems
is
to me that
okay. Got you. Yeah,
She's
yeah.
going behind her parents' back as well.
Yes.
It's not one-itis.
Okay. Okay.
They-
Got you.
Now, I don't know why they like each other, right?
Me neither, bro.
Okay.
But they're like
But
really
there
close
needs-
friends of mine, which is like mind-boggling
Okay.
to me.
But they need to figure out where they really want to go. They have to have a sit down and really talk about where they see this going. Because if their parents do not know about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
is gonna cause problems. You get
Yes.
what I'm saying? And
Yes,
you
it
don't have
will.
to ask them for permission.
You just gotta let
You
them
have to
know.
sit them down. You just have to let them know. You get what I'm saying? Like they're not
Mm.
gonna. The worst thing that they could do is what, say no to you, or like get you to your room, or like ground you.
Yeah.
That's temporary.
That's
You get what I'm
temporary.
saying?
Yeah.
Unless like like they kick you out, then I don't know, call police or something, call 911.
For what?
um,
No, but I feel you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So what I'm seeing is that from my point of view, because I don't know why they like each other,
Yeah.
I see it as infatuation with one another.
Yes.
They have a fake love because that's the person that gives them attention constantly,
Mm.
and so they keep wanting it back. They keep giving each other validation, so they keep wanting it.
Yeah,
And
man.
plus,
Yeah.
it's exciting to go behind your parents' back. But in the long term, this will never go anywhere if the parents do not know about it or if the parents do not accept it. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, your parents should mean something to you, and they've raised you your whole life, so I think they should know. Um, and also like, uh, basically like this whole situation, it could just be avoided by just telling the parents honestly, just tell them
Yeah.
what can they really do.
Yeah. Because I feel like also the guy doesn't have anything much going on. And like what we're talking about and or what we're going to talk about in this episode is that you should definitely find that meaning in your life or that purpose or find
Mm-hmm.
that higher morality obligation that you're supposed to do. You should find it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I was watching actually this video on Jordan Peterson, how he was talking about what would happen if you betray your purpose or if you do not follow that higher morality obligation of yourself, or you don't follow
Mm-hmm.
that meaning or that purpose. Is that, you know, the story of Jonah, right? So God told Jonah to go to Nineveh sa Tagalog. So in Nineveh in Tagalog, to tell the Ninevites that they were going to perish if they don't follow God, right? If they keep
Mm-hmm.
doing what they're doing. So Jordan then related it to God. He related him to, say, your higher morality is telling you to do this, or that meaning or that purpose, that higher sense of morale is telling you to do this. And then what does Jonah do? He goes to Tarshish. He goes the exact opposite. And then what happens? There's a storm. So oceans waving back and forth. The ship was a wreck after that. And then that's also what he was relating to when it comes to not following your passion, not following that not necessarily passion, but that purpose, because passion is different from purpose. So if you don't follow that purpose, if you don't follow God, if you don't follow that higher morality obligation, then a storm is going to happen. You can think of it as like your test, your moral obligation is to study for that test. If you don't study for that test, well, then it's obvious that you're not necessarily going to have a higher grade than if you were to actually follow that moral obligation to actually study. So yeah, that's my sense on following that meaning and following that purpose.
Okay. So you're saying that this guy, your friend,
Yeah.
he just not following his purpose.
Yeah,
He's
he
filling
doesn't
his
have
life
anything.
with a
Yeah.
void. He's filling his void with this girl, right?
Yes.
And I think that's very dangerous. Honestly, I think that's very, very dangerous because when you're not working towards something in your life, because okay, I won't lie to you, a lot of the epiphanies that I've realized, right,
Uh-huh.
are from this show. It's from the show on Netflix. It's called it's something with Bruce Lee. Like it's a Bruce Lee like
A
documentary, not
brasserie.
documentary,
A
but
brasserie.
yeah, it's a Bruce Lee like TV series, right?
Uh-huh.
About his life.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate it is, but it's very, very powerful. So I started looking into Bruce Lee and his philosophy and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things that he says that I really wanted to take into myself, right? Like he says something like along the lines of, if you love life, then don't waste time, for time is the essence of life, or something like that. And it's really true. Like, if you really do love life, you know, because time is life, right? When you run out of time, that means you run out of your life,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
When you run out of time, you're dead. So if you really do love your life, stop wasting your time. And there was also, I learned a lot of these like things from like shows, because, and I really like to take them like into myself. So there was also another one.
I like that.
Yeah, House of Cards, if you know what that is. House
Yeah.
of Cards. And he talks about, if you, I think I talked about this too before on a previous episode, but I said something about like, if all you get out of it is happiness, don't choose it. You know, if all you're
Yes.
getting from it is happiness,
Uh-huh.
don't choose it.
I agree with that.
Because happiness is a truly temporary feeling, unless you create joy from it, you know. And joy, right? I would say Bruce Lee was joyful,
Yeah.
because in this whole entire show, he literally had so many girls that liked him, right? So many girls, but he rejected it for what he wanted to do. Like, there was girls buying him houses, buying him.
Oh, for real? That's crazy.
Yeah. There was a Filipino girl in the TV show who bought him a house, but he didn't choose her because she didn't really like martial arts. Even though she was pretty and she had money, she was giving him a life. She literally said, "My dad will literally buy you everything that you need and want. You can have a life. You're just a philosophy major. What can you do with your life, right?" And he said to himself, "What I really want from life is to make Chinese kung fu in America, or make it worldwide, or something like that." He wants to make it popular, right?
Yeah.
And that was his purpose in life. He literally researched every single day of his life and used those researches, right? So he's a big advocate of basically taking information that is useful and discarding all the information that is useless. Right? So that's why he made Jeet Kune Do, which is amalgamation of, let's say, of Wing Chun, which is his martial art, and then if you know Ip Man, Wing Chun, boxing. There's a bit of judo in there. There's jujitsu. There's basically there's a lot of stuff. There's fencing, right? Basically, he took what was useful in those areas, or in those martial arts, and he put it into his own martial art to create the best for himself, right? For him and for people, right?
Yeah.
So then I really researched about philosophy, right? Because philosophy is very interesting, and it's how you should live your life, right? And I think it would make you really like a much better person if you just look into it. Aristotle believed in, I would say, happiness, and also eudaimonia. This word is basically the highest being of yourself, right? So I think from what I know, from what I researched about Aristotle, because I was doing a paper for my sister. Basically what he was saying was, you should be a virtuous person, and to be a virtuous person, you have to look at the models, right?
Yes.
And the reason why you should look at these models is so you can yourself, right? Your whole life, your whole purpose in life is to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was his philosophy. That you have to be the best version of yourself, and the reason why is to get eudaimonia, to be this happy person, and to be the best version of yourself.
Bro,
right?
I know you've read. I'm pretty sure you've read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, right?
Yeah.
His first book was literally appreciating all the other people, and how much he admired Antoninus, or his adoptive father, and that's literally who he wanted to be. So he modeled his life according to his sage, or the person that he wanted to become, and that was just what was going through my mind when you were talking about how to live a virtuous life and how to model the person that you want to become.
Right. And I think you should really, I think everyone in this podcast, or whoever's listening, like the 5-10 people who are listening, I think you guys should really like watch that Bruce Lee TV series about him, because I learned so much that I haven't realized until now. Like, first of all of his life, all throughout his life, he had a mentor, right? He had different mentors teach him the martial arts that he wanted to take from, right? That he wanted to use in his own martial art. So he learned from these artists, from these martial artists. He didn't limit himself to just his art, just to his martial arts, not to just Wing Chun. He literally went out and to be the best version of himself, he went out and searched other mentors to teach him. And there's a lot of fights and all that stuff, and it's very exciting to watch if you look at it at a very shallow point of view. But if you really look into it in depth, he had mentors all of his life, which is saying you need someone who knows exactly like where you want, like who is already where you want to go, right? You need somebody who is already a professional at what you want to be, right? So let's say you want to become a singer. Well, you need to get a professional singer who can teach you about the ins and outs of the industry and what that person does, right? If you want to be a producer, you have to learn from producers, right? You don't go and learn from like producing professor who's never produced in his life, you know? Like,
yeah.
it's not right. Go to the people who like are at the point where you want to be, right? And also basically this thing about purpose, right? There's a lot of philosophies on it. You know, Aristotle's, there's also the philosophy of ikigai, if you know what that is.
Yeah. The Japanese
ikigai
word
is the
for
Japanese
like purpose.
philosophy. Yeah, it's finding your purpose. It's basically, I think
It's the reason you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, it's the reason why you wake up in the morning, but I think ikigai is basically to find that purpose, right? Its philosophy is to find that purpose. You have to do what you love, right? You have to be good at it. You have to make money from it. And there's also one other thing, but I forgot about it. But basically, those are the top 3 things that come out of my head. And I think it's true, you know, like, and then you have to apply this information as well, right?
Yeah.
So I applied it to, let's say, Bruce Lee, right? Because I was watching the TV show at the time. So, okay, so I said, well, he's really good at martial arts. He loves it, right? He's getting money from it, you know, and he's waking up every day to freaking research about it and be the best that he can at martial arts. And he's making money off it. So that would be his purpose. And that was his purpose. He literally rejected women who would buy him everything and give him a pleasant, comfortable, good life. But he chose hard. He chose to fulfill his purpose, and he got way more out of it.
Yeah. But
So
also,
right now
I feel like I've...
Go ahead.
Because I've been watching, you know, consuming and watching and reading all of these self-help contents and all that good stuff. And putting all of these fake pressure on me to be this, and just shaking my fist and going, I should be like this. But at the same time, I'm 17, I'm 18. I have like a whole 60, 70 years or 80 years, if God blesses me with that much amount of time left ahead of my life. So it's like I'm putting all of this fake pressure on me to find these mentors, but at the same time there's YouTube already. You can just study the lives of the people who you want to become, and then further along in life, as you're pursuing that purpose or as you're improving yourself constantly day by day, I am a firm believer that the hows of your life, or like the opportunities that come along your way through life, that's what God is there for. He's gonna give you that as long as he sees that you're building yourself up through that purpose. So basically, I was struggling for like a year or half a year, just knowing how to improve myself, but at the same time, it's like I'm putting all of this fake pressure on me when I know that I personally believe that God will be there for me. Like, for example, I was just doing my YouTube and I was just trying to see how this gift that God gave me, which is communicating and sharing ideas, how I'm gonna use that. And then all of a sudden I'm on Wish 1075, and all of a sudden I'm in this tiny project by Wish 1075 as well called Music Pod. And I would have never thought in 1,000,000,000 years that I would be part of Wish 1075, which is practically the Philippines' biggest radio station. And now we're in the branch here in America. It's like you just have to um, basically build yourself up first at like the very first stages, and then the how-tos and like the methods and opportunities. I feel as though the universe or nature or Mother Earth or however you want to call it, but for me, I like God will give that to you. What do you think about that?
First of all, congratulations,
Thank you.
for being a part of something really big. Second of all, I do agree with that a lot. There's no, I wouldn't say there's no science behind it, because I don't know.
Yes,
right? I don't know
definitely.
if there is a science behind it. So I can't really say that, but there probably is. I don't know. There probably is. There's probably somebody who researched it, because I mean, I think everyone felt this. I feel that pressure myself as well. For me, my pressure is I want to be successful. I'm so pressured to be successful because I want to give my parents a good life.
Yeah.
I want to give back to them what they've given me. I That's why right now I'm doing a lot of business ventures. Like, I'm trying to figure out ways to make money. Not through just a conventional job, 9 to 5 job. I don't like that stuff. I don't want to do that stuff. It's repetitive. It's boring, and it's not challenging. It's just time consuming, and I believe unworthy of my time. So saying that, I'm not saying a 9 to 5 is bad. I'm just saying I personally don't like doing it. Some people love doing it, and so it's fine. But for me, I just can't do that stuff, because I mean, I can do it, but I just choose not to. I hate that stuff. But I'm trying to figure out ways on how to make other money in other ways. So I'm like selling bikes. I'm buying bikes. I'm trading. I'm finding out ways to make this e-commerce thing work. Working day and night, and stuff like that. Really researching, marketing. Because that's the problem I have right now, and that's all the books that I have right now, and the Rational Mail. So really, everyone has this pressure, especially in our age. I would say 16 to 22, because in my head I'm like, by 22 I want to be rich, and
I've had the same mindset too.
Right. It's clearly not your purpose. It's clearly not. You can do it. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm just saying it's a little bit unrealistic in a sense of you might not get it by 22. You might get it when you're 32. As long as you keep doing it, as long as that is your real purpose. So we're going back to Ikigai, and we're going back to finding your true purpose, right?
Yes.
If you really find your true purpose, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Right? It doesn't matter how long it takes. You're doing it because you love it, and you're making money from it, and you're good at it, right? So it doesn't matter how long it freaking takes. Like, we can apply this to, I think, somebody that we all know, Gary Vee, right? He has a set goal. His purpose is to spread his positivity and his experiences and his teachings to the world, and also personally, he wants to buy the jets, right?
Yeah.
That one goal drives him. That's his purpose. It drives him to make money. He doesn't even care if he gets the jets. He doesn't, right? That's his desire. That's what he wants. That's his outcome, right?
Yeah.
But he's just letting it go. He just keeps trying to make as much money as possible. And if he buys the jets, that's amazing, But that's what he desired. That's what gets him to wake up every day, and also to obviously help people, with their life struggles and all that stuff. But that one goal drives him so much that he wakes up every morning and he's like, okay, let's get this bread. You know what I'm saying?
Bread, yeah.
Let's get this money. Exactly. So queens get the money, Queens get the money. But yeah, so you need to find this one purpose in your life. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, how do I find this? Stuff like that.
You don't gotta know how to
Go.
find it. Just keep improving yourself and know.
And you'll find it.
Yeah, you'll find
Keep
it.
finding it. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to simply, oh, I'm just gonna be a nurse. I'm just gonna be a doctor. I'm just gonna be, because my mom tells me to, and because the money's good. The money doesn't matter. The money will always be there. It will always come. There will always be ways to make money. Freaking crackheads can find money.
Yeah.
And they're still alive. Crackheads can find money. You can too. Money is not the problem. The problem is how you make that money.
That mindset. Did you
Right.
finish reading Think and Grow Rich?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
it's
it.
great. It's really good.
I have it.
You have it?
I haven't.
But yeah, I feel like if we let's go back to me for a second, because I'm self-censored and narcissistic and
That's
all
all
that
good.
stuff, and what I'm trying to learn right now is
Yeah.
active listening, active reading, and all that stuff. Because here's the thing, we're reading books, but I'm not really taking as much notes as I should be.
Same. I feel like
You know?
that too. Yeah.
And so I had to stop that. I had to wait. What's the process of actually retaining information, right? I had to go back to what is really the best way to retain information, and what is really the best way to solve my problem, right? So how do I solve my problem? By reading books and watching videos. How am I going to retain that information? Taking notes. The one thing that I was really thinking about last night, right, was note taking. Was how can we improve the school system? I don't know why, but I just really wanted to talk to a teacher at that point. I'm like, hey, you should implement this. Right? So because
You talked to a
what I learned now
teacher?
is that no, I didn't. But I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't. But what, I'm probably gonna meet with like our assistant principal and stuff like that. It's like when COVID's over, I'm gonna tell them, like, hey, I'm an alumni.
Bring
now,
me
and I'm
over,
calling
bro,
now.
because I've. What book did you read? Because I've read Why Students Don't Like School. And,
No. I didn't read that. I didn't read books. I went online and I tried to figure out how to take good notes, and I just went on a deep research.
Yeah.
And figuring out outline notes, Cornell notes, whether you should handwrite or whether you should
Take notes digitally.
Yeah. And I really got deep into that stuff. And what is the one essential thing is taking notes. The one big thing to retain information is to take notes. And I think that schools should have a whole not curriculum on it, but a whole set of lessons for it. Learn about the methods, and practice the methods. Practicality, right? You should implement that in every single day. You should from middle school at least, right? From middle school, teach them about that stuff, and then make sure that they find it in themselves to use those notes, right? And that's the one big thing, we do a lot of passive learning, right? It's not active learning.
Yeah.
We take screenshots, right? We take pictures of the board, and stuff like that. We write things word for word, verbatim, right?
Yeah.
That's passive learning. When you're writing something word for word, you're not actually retaining that information because you're just copying. You're not understanding. When you're actually taking notes, you are trying to make connections. You're trying to make small comments and stuff like that to connect two different topics, or to connect and to understand the topic. That's active learning, right? Once I got into active learning, I got into active listening, and really I'm trying to break down, how can I be the best version of myself, and what are the basics? Because the whole point is, you can be the greatest boxer in the world, but if you forget the basics, if you forget the basics, you're not gonna win a fight. Like Tyson, right? Tyson lost a fight because he wasn't training, and training is one of the basics, right? Training to beat somebody is a basic component of winning, right? If you don't practice, how are you gonna be prepared for that fight, right? And I think he went to Japan. I think he took something he took a couple virgins or something like that. I don't know, but he was just so focused on the women and having fun and being happy and being joyful that he forgot all about his training, and when he got into that fight, he lost that fight. You know, and that was a good lesson to learn from. You know, like you need to keep going with your life. Like, and according to Bruce Lee, he practices every single day, and he says he always does the basics. You know, and then he moves on to the more advanced stuff. But if you don't know the basics, you're not gonna go anywhere in life. If you just stick to the basics, right, you can improve on that basic, and then you can be really good. You can be a pro, right, through mentorship and all that. But what I'm saying is, find your purpose by finding out what you like, if you're good at it. Because if you just do those things, it's just a hobby, right? If you're good at it and you like it, then it's just a hobby. If you're not making money from it, right? And I feel like that's the Ikigai Japanese philosophy, and I really like that philosophy because I really understand it now, that if I can apply it to every person in my life who is successful right now, and every successful person who have like done interviews and stuff like that, and telling their life story and stuff like that, and how they persevere, it's all the same thing. It's a formula. There's a formula here, you know, that you start to connect. There's a pattern that you start to connect, and once you follow it, you know, obviously you have to take from other things and make it your own, make it unique to your own self, because every person is different, right?
Yep.
Once you add in that unique sauce to you, you can be successful. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that? What do you think about the whole philosophy of, you know,
of Ikigai? Man, I forgot what I was.
Ikigai, of what I just said, you know.
Oh yeah. I was also gonna say that, going back to what you said on knowing your passion, it's like all you need to do, I'm a firm believer in this, is that you don't, the hows and the opportunities that come along your way, you don't gotta care about that. What you need to do is know the what. Like, what do you want? What do you lack? And then acting upon that. Because the first step into like curing a disease is to knowing it. So, and also write it down, because I'm also a firm believer in thinking on paper. Because if you just think it, like you just think that, I have to do this tomorrow, and then that's it. You don't do it, bro. I'm a firm believer in thinking on paper. So write down what you lack, write down what you want to change about yourself, and then do that. And think on paper, write that down on paper. And then if you just keep on proving that, I'm a firm believer that the universe, Mother Nature, but for me, the God the Father will give back to that thing, because you're giving something of yourself. You're sacrificing pieces of yourself in order to better yourself. And giving, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because if you keep giving, God will give you more things to give back. For example, if you keep giving energy back into the world, or you keep giving money back into the world, if you keep giving, if you keep improving yourself, if you keep sacrificing pieces of yourself, then that will be filled back maybe tenfold. It will be reciprocated, basically. And yeah, man, that's what I gotta say about that. So basically, find your purpose, and then keep sacrificing, and find that passion and that purpose. Yeah, man.
Yeah, 100%. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or?
Nah, that's gonna wrap it up for me. So basically, thinking on paper, finding out that what, acting upon it, and doing and acting. And yeah, man. So basically, don't find and don't try to fill that void up with women or extrinsic values or factors, because like
feelings, emotions,
like what Farrel and I were talking about, it's like it's really dangerous, because, well, you don't want to end up being Romeo and Juliet, where they were just like killed themselves.
They ended up dying, so yeah.
So good luck to you. So that is gonna wrap it up for this episode of When the Bell Rings, man. So any shout outs you wanna give, bro? Anything that you wanna end this episode on?
Shout out to my man Bruce Lee. Rest in peace. Shout out to Chief Keaton. Let me stop.
Chief
Shout out to
Keef.
God. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's my guy. No, okay. The last thing I want to say is, if you really didn't take anything away from this, take this. Improve yourself.
Yes.
That's it. Improve yourself.
I like that. Improve yourself.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, people, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Take care.
Be yours still in my heart. It's 3 a.m. and I can't fall asleep. The pain, it's in too deep. It kills when you're not with me. I know we're meant to go our separate ways. I wish you'll be okay. I hope you can forgive me.